5 years and still talking. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Nothing works right. Well, I don't want that. No, stop it. See? This is what I'm saying. This thing's all going all haywire on me. Hold on a second. Let me just get rid of some stuff here. Let me get this. Hold on. This is, there we go. Get rid of that, and we get rid of that. And then let's see here. Let's bring it back up. Are we okay? Something went wrong with my I have this thing that plays all the music, you know, the themes and stuff like that, and somehow it was not doing the right thing tonight. It was playing stuff that didn't exist, you know. So I don't know. Anyway, we're here. What the hell? I have no guest, nothing. And it just looks like I'm going to be talking with you for a little bit, and then we'll go to the panel, right? We'll go to the citizen panel, and hopefully we can have a good show tonight. I am out of it again tonight. I mentioned last night. Let me talk. I got to talk about this, okay? Let me just get it off my chest. I talked last night about this possible cancer, prostate cancer that I have. Possible. We don't know. My numbers jumped, okay? They went from they were at a 2.9, then they went to a 2.5, then they went to a 3.4. I have these things memorized up to a 4.5. And then all of a sudden it jumped to a 6.7, and all of a sudden my doctor said, oh, we better have a prostate biopsy. And I don't know, you know, I just was really bothered by that, and I just felt maybe that was going too fast, too far, because I read a lot of stuff online that says that somebody my age shouldn't even be tested for his PSA. Let alone given a biopsy, and that doing the PSA at my age causes more problems than it helps and may lead to overdiagnosis and what can we call it? Doing it, and doing prostate biopsies and so on. So I went to my doctor yesterday because I had to get a pre-biopsy okay from him for my health, because they're going to put me out for it, right? So I went to my doctor and I told him about this and my concerns, and he went, "Well, 6.7." He said, "You know, that's still not high enough." I mean, he said, I don't know why he's doing the biopsy, and one of the reasons he's doing the biopsy is because of the jump, the velocity, I guess, in the PSA. But this doctor, you know, there's something about him that just I didn't trust, and I told my doctor this, and he uses this guy as his urologist as well, and he said, well, you know, he said, I've even had my doubts, you know. He said, I'd get a second opinion if I were you. He said, you know, it never hurts, and you probably should get a second opinion. So I called up the doctor he told me to call, and I got an appointment for next Thursday. And, you know, to get a second opinion on this whole thing, that maybe this thing, he's just going a little too fast, too far, and that we should just wait and see what happens with this. You know, it's not like according to him, he didn't think that it was an particularly aggressive cancer if it was one, but then he was talking afterwards about doing things like hormone therapy, which is really chemical castration. and maybe some radiation, and he says I can keep you alive for the next 10 years. He said it's not a problem, it's not a big deal. And I'm going, well, it sounds like a big deal to me because the word cancer is involved here. And so I was happy to get I was delighted when I got this appointment with this doctor for a second opinion. But I don't know what he's going to say, And all of a sudden I go online, I find this thing that he gave me. It was like a prescription for my doctor, and I forgot to take it with me. But they were able to do the thing anyway. And here it is, see? Number one, he spells my name wrong, and then he tells my doctor that my PSA went from a 2.5 to a 4.3 to a 6.7. Well, that's not exactly what happened. It went from a 2.9 to a 2.5 to a 3.3 to a 4.3 to a 6.7. So he didn't even have my numbers right, So, it's almost like, I don't know, it's something wrong here, And so I got this other doctor to see me. And I kind of, after talking to my doctor yesterday, I felt a little better about it. He said, I don't think, it's anything really serious. He says, you may have prostate cancer at your age. There's a 70% chance that you do because of your age, okay, and the fact that you're a male. And I said, so this is what I have to look forward to in life, right? But he said, I don't think it's anything. I said, is anything that's going to kill me? He says, nah. He said, it's fixable and so on. See this other doctor. He says he's a good one, and he'll give you a good opinion on this. And so I felt pretty good about that, and I felt good enough last night that I told this whole story about this thing. And today I started worrying again. And I get into these worry things where I start worrying about it and whether, hey, is this right? Is this going to be what we're going to, maybe this other doctor's going to say, yeah, you better have the biopsy because, it looks like you could have aggressive cancer. So I go online and I look up PSA velocity, okay? And by the way, if you're sick, don't do what I do. Don't go on the internet, all right? Because it'll only make you more depressed. So I look up PSA velocity and it says, well, if you have a PSA velocity of more than 2 points a year, which this was, you probably have an aggressive cancer. Well, that suddenly put me into a spin. And then I went and looked at other things on PSA velocity, and I read a newer one. You see, you have to look at the dates when they're written, and some of them go back to like 2005. And it says, they used to think that PSA velocity was an indicator of an aggressive cancer, but recent findings have found out that velocity has nothing to do with whether you have cancer or not. If you find a lump in your butt, in your prostate, yeah, if you do the digital. But that it doesn't necessarily mean anything. So that calmed me down, but then I read another article that said, oh, but PSA velocity could do, and so I am just, I'm sitting here just panicking like crazy. And I almost didn't go on the air tonight just because I was so upset. But then I went, so what am I going to do? I'm not going to go on the air, and then I'm not going to be talking with people, and so I'm just going to lie in bed depressed and worried about this, So I don't know what the story is. And I all of a sudden yesterday I was feeling really good after I talked to my doctor, but after time has passed and that memory has faded a little bit, I feel worse. Okay. But who knows? Maybe this other doctor will say, nah, let's just watch it. You should probably just watch it, We'll see. I don't know. So when I die of prostate cancer, you can say I told you so, But I am like, I'm at my wit's end, and I'm not about ready to take any antidepressants or any things like Xanax or whatever to calm me down, because that's not going to solve the problem. And quite frankly, since I haven't been taking the Xanax every night to go to sleep, or anything to go to sleep except a little hit of pot, I'm feeling much more lucid. And maybe I would, I don't know, maybe it would help. I don't know. But so I keep looking at the internet to find some way that I've got really terrible aggressive prostate cancer. But I may or may not. But my doctor seems to think that no. He says he has had patients over the years, and over a third of his male patients came down with prostate cancer, and he said only one was dangerous, and that was in all the he's been doctoring for 40 years now, and he just said don't worry about it. He says if you need the biopsy, you get it, but he said I would get a second opinion. Also, the other reason I didn't want to do the biopsy with this doctor is he wanted to do it at his office, and his office is filthy. It is really and my doctor who goes to him agreed with me on that. And I just said, I just don't know if the hygienics of it all appeal to me. But I said, can I hold it off for a couple of weeks? I mean, it's not going to kill me. He says, no, not at all. Don't worry about it. It's not like it has to be done tomorrow because you've got this horrible, rampant prostate cancer. He said, if you have it, it's probably confined to the prostate, and it's slow, and But I want a doctor that also isn't going to say to me, I'm going to give you chemical castration to solve the problem. I'd rather they take out my fucking prostate, and have done with it than do that, because the effects of that are just devastating. Whereas having your prostate cut out, you pee your pants a lot. Hopefully, after a while, that goes away, and there are other ways they can do it, and so on and so forth. So but the idea that I have to suddenly go from, okay, you're all right, to, oh no, you're sick, you're dying, you've got prostate cancer, this drives me crazy. And this doctor even told me, he said, oh, I can give you the hormones, and I can give you the whatever, and I can keep you alive for the next 10 years without any trouble. We'll be talking to each other 10 years from now. I'm sure probably something else will kill me, even if I did nothing about this, because I don't even feel I've got anything, I mean, and he did the digital thing, and he didn't feel anything in there, and he always wanted me with his, what do you call it, the thing they do for women who are pregnant. And he did that, and then he also did one of those up my ass and did a sonic reading of my prostate on that. And he didn't see anything in any of these things. The only thing he saw was some calcium deposits and a prostate that's a little larger than most, or than usual. So, what have you? I don't know. I give up, And it's got me all bothered, and the reason I'm talking about it to you right now is because if I didn't, I would be a real mess throughout the show trying to hold it back. So I don't know what to say, and nobody's watching this anyway. I don't know why I do this every night. I really don't. It's really insane. But anyway. Otherwise, I went to the dentist today because I've been going to a dentist. I found a really good dentist. Marjorie found her, actually, and we've been going to this dentist that, God, I can't believe the difference between my old dentist and the new one. I mean, it's the difference between pure professionalism and a bunch of people running around their office not knowing what they're doing. And so she found 2 cavities, or 3 cavities actually, 2 in 1 tooth, and then another one that she's going to do next week, and then she's got to redo a filling back here that is cracked. So I have a bit of work to do, but I've got the insurance, and it hasn't been costing me that much. But I had this deep scale cleaning. Had to do deep root scale cleaning. That's why people said, "Why are they charging you $70 a visit on your insurance as a copay?" And I said, "I don't know. It's just a cleaning. Usually they take care of that for free." But it turns out that I had to have deep scale root cleaning. And so I went in on the other day, and then I went in today, and this woman was taking forever. I mean, now I'm not blaming her for that, and I'm not saying that was terrible or that she was terrible at what she was doing. She was incredible at what she was doing. I mean, she was getting down there and probably finding a steak dinner I had back in 1956 down there, you know. I'm sitting there and I'm lying. You know, it's just, it goes on forever. See, I asked them, "Do you have gas?" And they say, "Well, you don't want gas for having your teeth cleaned, and you don't want to." I had a filling a couple of days ago, and she said, "You don't need gas for this." And I just feel I need gas for everything. I used to go in to my dentist in San Francisco, and I used to get my teeth cleaned, and they would give me gas. Why? Because it's so boring sitting in that seat, and it gets really annoying having somebody scraping away at your tartar, okay? That if you at least have gas, it goes by much faster and much more pleasant, and you're getting high, right? But no gas. So I'm sitting there with my mouth open for an hour. As she's going down, she's digging way down. I think I felt her touch my penis with her drill. It was that deep, right? And of course, at the rate things are going with me, that'd be really nice. But anyway, where was I going? As I'm sitting there, I have some music going on in my earphones, you know. And I'm trying to deal with it, and I'm thinking about all kinds of things, not the least of which is my cancer, you know, the prostate thing. And I suddenly come up with the weirdest question to ask the dental hygienist. And after we're through, because I started wondering about something, and it started obsessing with me, and I had to have the technical answer. As you know, when you go to the dentist, it used to be in the old days, if you were having dental work done, they would say spit, and then you would go over to they had a spit sink right on the chair, and you'd spit in the spit chair. But they don't have those anymore. Instead, they have the suck-o-matic. They have that thing they put in your mouth, like that, that's sucking air, and then whenever you feel your mouth welling up with stuff, whether it's blood or tartar or whatever, you simply suck on it, and it sucks all the stuff into the suction thing. And I'm thinking to myself, where does that stuff go? You know? They suck it out of me, but then where does it go? So after we're through with this whole thing, I said to her, "I got a question for you." And she said, "What?" I said, "The suction thing. You know, when you suck all the spit out of me and all the tartar and all the blood and stuff like that, where does it go?" And she looked at me and she said, "I have no idea. I'll have to ask somebody one of these days." She didn't know where it went. I'm thinking, like, maybe there's a law and it's biohazard because there's blood in there. There's got to be some blood in there. There's spit, and there's tartar, you know. And so what do they do? Where does all that go? Does it just, does it go to the toilet and they just flush it once an hour or something like that? I don't know. But if you ever asked where your spit goes, that's going to be the title of my next book, or my only book. Where does the spit go? Anyway, so so today I'm walking to the dentist, And I'm starting to get this depression is starting to come on again. And anybody wants to help get me out of it tonight, please call. I'll open up the lines in a moment. And I'm passing by this eating place where everybody's eating at the counters and stuff like that. It's lunchtime. And I look in and I see all these people. They range in age from, I'd say these were people who were working, so they range in age from maybe 20 to upward. And I looked in there and I said to myself, in 75 years, everybody in that place is probably going to be dead. Right? It's like we have a complete turnover in the planet. When I was born, there were people dying. And now the people who were born when I was born are all dying. And it's just this constant turnover of people. And that all the people that I see as I'm walking down the street 100 years from now won't be here. They will all be dead. I can guarantee it. All right? So we're only here for a small amount of time on the planet. So then, tonight I'm watching one of the episodes of The Planets, which is a show the BBC did for their Earth project. And it's about all the different planets and how long ago they were created and how much they, how they came to be and so on. And it's pretty cool, pretty cool. But as I'm watching it, they're going, and so 4.8 billion years ago, here's how Mercury was created. And I'm thinking, 4.8 billion years ago. My lifespan, which I think has been important to me, which is now 79 years, doesn't even, it would be a grain of sand in that time frame. Maybe not even a grain of sand. It might be a paramecium or something like that, just infinitesimal. And all our lives here, am I depressing you? I hope not. But it's just, what am I trying to say here? Our lives are so infinitesimal. We have such a small little part of history here that we can survive. And then we die. And shouldn't all those years be as pleasant as is humanly possible? And why is it that mankind, in its infinite horribleness, tries to make life miserable for everybody else on the planet? They go to war. They become an asshole president. I mean, why can't we just care about making sure that what short lifespan we have, and if I live to be 100, that's still a short lifespan compared to 4.8 billion years, right? Why can't we just do good by each other? Why is it that we just keep making our lives a living hell for each other? It's not right. It's just not right. So, anyway, nobody's watching tonight. I shouldn't even go to the phones. I should just hang up and say that's it. Oh, what do you know? The last guy doing the show left the phones open, so you could have called at any time, and the phones would have rang or rung or did something, So anyway, I've got the lines open. The lines have been open, so I'll just let you call if you want to. But I'm really not been in a good way. They tell people the common wisdom is that you don't give prostate PSA exams, tests, these blood tests, to anybody over the age of 75, and certainly not to someone who is approaching 80. And the reason is exactly what's happening to me, is the anguish and the that you go through dealing with this, So anyway, Phil Meyer is called, and I don't even have to find him a place. There's a place for him right there from last night. Hello, Phil. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw the lines were open, but I was waiting for the invitation.
Here comes Josh Wheeler. Let me get Josh here, and let me also give him a spot here. Let me see here. Here comes. Well, now I got to go cancel. Let me do it again. Oh, there's Josh. Now let me try and bring him up. There we go, Josh W. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. There's Josh. Hello, Josh. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. Here comes Jeff Stein. I think he may have had that same spot last night, but I'm not sure.
While you fill the spots, I'm going to get a glass of
Wait a
water.
minute. Now I can't get him. I can't get him to come up. There we go. Okay, there we go. We got Jeff Stein finally. He was a little off the beaten track here. Hold on a second. Let me see here. Jeff Stein. There we go. Okay. There we go. Oh, there's Jeff. Okay. See him down there? Right down there? Okay. All right. Hello, Jeff. How are you this evening?
Good. Good.
Yeah. And how are you, Josh?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so 4.8 billion years ago, a lot of the universe, the planets as we know it, were formed. They were formed. There was solar dust out there, and the solar dust congealed with each other. That took about 1 million years, and then things crashed into each other, these boulders, and finally they all became planets. Taking maybe, I don't know, 500 million years for that whole process to take place. And you say to yourself, and I only lived to be like this long, fuck that. What's that all about, I don't understand it, so. Whatever. Let me see here. I have to. Sometimes it takes me a while to get somebody in here because I sometimes go to them too quickly. There we go, Charles Wallace. There we go. He's up now, and there we got Charlie. Hello, Charlie. How are you today?
I'm doing better. I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah. So I just sat there tonight, just going, God, we're so insignificant. We're just a speck, and we can't treat each other well on this planet. We have to play all these silly fucking games. I mean, it's really. I just think we should all be nicer to each other. We just aren't nice enough. Let me see. Dan just called. Let me see here. Where is Dan up here yet? No. Sometimes if I wait, I have to wait a couple of seconds before a name comes up. Now,
Hey, Alex,
yeah.
I'm not a speck. I'm a splotch.
You're a splotch. Yeah. So anyway, let me see here. Oh, there we go. There's Dan. He's what's that noise?
Am I making noise again?
Yes, you're making noise again. Your microphone's too loud.
I gotta get back on my thing on the PC because this phone thing really isn't working out as well as I hope.
Well, it tends to suck out sound when you first turn it on. Now it's fine.
It's got to adjust. Does it sound better now?
Yeah, it sounds better now.
Yeah, it's an automatic adjustment.
Yeah.
But you can turn that off.
Yeah. So whatever. Anyway, why we can't take care of be nicer to each other, and why we make life miserable for other people, and why there are Hitlers and things like that. I mean, is that?
Yes, it's because you're Democrats.
Is that? Oh, stop it, Phil. Jesus, I'm trying to get serious here for a second.
Bring it all together.
What? What?
Need a uniter, not a divider.
Well, it's not a question of being a uniter. It's a question of why do we have to why do certain people feel compelled to make other people's lives miserable on this planet?
We should deserve it.
Enjoy it.
Well, you know, if their pleasure equals somebody else's misery, they're more concerned about their pleasure than the other's misery.
Well,
So
I don't understand it. I don't understand quest for power.
Me either.
That makes no sense to me at all. And the quest for power is generally going to make some people miserable while you attain it, or when you've got it. And it's terrible. It's just terrible. So and I think about I'm 79. Who knows how many years I have left? I could live to be 100. I could live to be till November. Who knows? Nobody knows. And I say to myself, why is it that all my life there's always been somebody out there trying to make my life miserable? I'm not talking about a girlfriend or an individual, but people who run things, run countries, and so on, and the games they play. And I don't know why. Is this human nature that we're talking about?
I think it is, sadly enough.
Well, then we don't deserve to go anywhere,
Maybe not. Maybe, I mean, like racism and xenophobia. I think that has roots in, as horrible as it is in society, it has its roots in our, back when we were cavemen. If, if
do
you saw.
Do you think cavemen had racism?
I'm
I'm
sure it did.
Yeah. I'm sure there were racist cavemen all over the place.
Well, I know that the Neanderthals were very afraid of the Homo sapiens.
Yeah, well, we wiped them out.
We
And
wiped
for
them
good
out.
reason,
Well, you know why?
That was like the beginning of our destructive nature.
What do you know?
wiped out
Do
the
but do you know why the Neanderthals disappeared? Because they weren't social. Homo sapiens had a tendency to be social. In other words, to get together in groups and do things together in groups and so on. And Neanderthals weren't that way. They weren't social. And it was the lack of being sociable that pretty much drove them to the ocean, to the sea, and to the extinction. So,
if you were a Neanderthal, would you, if you were a Homo sapien, would you want to hang out with a Neanderthal? Come on, look at those guys.
they were around. They were around.
A lot of them. There was a lot of interbreeding. So
the
Neanderthals.
Neanderthals.
Hey, those Homo sapiens will fuck mud.
Neanderthals and Homo sapiens lived lived at the same time, but they really didn't have much to do with each other. So.
Oh, I don't think that's true. I think that Homo sapiens were raping them and and just because almost was Homo sapiens, we're all a bunch of assholes anyway. So of course that's what we do.
What I mean, we did things like we formed armies, and what was the purpose of armies? It was to destroy people, to destroy things, to gain power.
How about protect your village from other people that wanted to destroy you?
You always have to change it, don't you, Phil?
No, it's you. You said that you made a statement, and I'm refuting that statement. I'm saying I don't agree with it.
You don't agree that some people wanted to pillage and rape villages.
Yeah, and that's why other people had armies to keep that from happening.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Okay.
And so so what you're saying is it's a whole vicious cycle.
Right.
It may turn into that. But there are those that want peace through strength.
There is no peace through strength.
Well, not according to that general Chinese general.
Who gives a shit
Sun
about
Tse,
him? Who gives a shit about him?
Huh?
Yeah. The Art of War, big fucking deal.
Yeah.
The only idiots quote that.
Yeah.
That's why it's taught in West Point.
Well, West Point is a military organization, and they're out to rape and pillage.
Maybe through strength.
This whole thing about strength is just ridiculous. What happened to Tony? Tony called, and then he hung up. I don't know.
Got a better deal.
He got a better deal. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, here he comes again. Here he comes. There we go. Now, wait a minute. Tony joined. Okay. Oh, there's Tony. Okay. Let me give him a little space here. Tony Quisp. There we go. All right. Okay. Tony. Are you there? There's Tony.
Oh, yeah.
There's Tony. Okay. All righty. All righty. All righty. All righty. Let me see here. Okay. Wait a minute. I'm trying to.
So, Tony, doesn't the city have any codes? They let you show up half shaven, you know, hair disheveled. What's the story here? What kind of city are you working for? This De Blasio will hire anybody.
You know what?
De Blasio?
I could get a job.
He works for the city of New York.
You said De Blasio?
De Blasio.
Oh, okay. You said De Blasio.
Yeah.
I got a short haircut because my hair was going crazy. I feel neat though. I was so hot I was gonna get it all shaved off.
Really?
I was so that heat was
Alex.
killing me over the. I didn't want to leave the house. I was like you, Alex. I came back in.
Yeah, I should have gotten a haircut today.
I couldn't take that humidity anymore.
I always feel better after a haircut.
Yeah, I feel relaxed. I should have let them shave me. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I let them shave me.
I don't. I'm $110 lighter after a haircut.
God,
Do you spend that much money on a haircut, Phil?
Spend too much.
Now I'm having them color it. They're putting in a little bit of pepper. You know, like I got white hair, so they make it salt and pepper.
Why don't you just let it go gray?
Yeah.
It is.
Well,
Gray would be okay.
Aiden
It's
put
white.
gray in the
Phil,
ring.
you trying to get laid?
Hey.
Is that what this is all about?
What's that?
You trying to get
Say
laid?
A wig?
Are you trying
No.
to get laid?
Trying to get laid.
No, it wouldn't work.
Yeah,
just
so
good for
why?
peeing.
So fuck it. Just let the hair go gray. You know,
I got an image.
I did. Yeah.
You know, I'm a Gabnet participant. I can't just let it go gray.
It's his brand. His branding.
His branding. Yeah, his branding.
Imagine he gets a
Yeah.
funky.
If I lose weight, you'll see what I'll buy for myself.
Yeah.
You know, I got to give myself a gift if I lose weight.
But so anyway, so I've been very depressed today. So it's it's one of those days, right? Where I keep going online.
Oh, you do and I do Google.
Huh?
You do the Google like I do, right?
Well, no.
What do I have?
No, not like you do. Do you look up cancer?
Well, my
No.
mom was sick. I was doing it, and I was getting worried. I said, "Oh boy, I hope they can get this out." And it was it's all. I think you're fine, Alex. I don't like the idea that he did that test over 75. Like he shouldn't have did that.
No.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my doctor wasn't that happy with that concept either. And he felt that there's something maybe a little wrong there, but But on the other hand, he wrote down on that little piece of paper how my PSA had gone up from a 2.5 to a 4.3 to a 6.7. He forgot that in the middle there was a 3-something from my doctor, and that it started out at a 2.9 and went down to a 2.5. So it's been all over the place. But no, he didn't even have the numbers right, my doctor.
Yeah. Yeah,
you
get a
don't-
second
you don't-
opinion, 'cause that's
What? What'd you say?
You don't
Phil?
like suggestions from me medically, but have them do a blood test and check your neutrophils and your white blood cell count and compare it to what it had been in the past and see if you've had a fairly large increase in those things. And if you did, you may have prostatitis.
I don't have
you-
prostatitis.
I
I don't have any of the symptoms of prostatitis, Phil.
Yeah, but sometimes you have the change in PSA, and that might be the indicator. And those two blood tests are the ones that will help you.
Can you
see
have prostatitis
if you have
without?
an
Can
infection.
you have prostatitis without symptoms? I don't think so.
You're taking things that relieve the symptoms like finasteride and this what do you call
knows?
it?
Who
Cialis.
Who knows? But I mean, my doctor seemed to think, well, it's probably. I said, do you think there's any chance that it's not cancer? He says, well, he was so sure that I probably had cancer, which I probably do. But at my age, it's in most cases it's very slow growing, and I don't know. But it just. I was feeling so good yesterday, and then I started letting myself worry. And
Why don't you do what I do when I'm depressed?
Right.
What?
I eat and spend money. And then when I get depressed over getting fat and spending all that money on junk, then I pay off the credit cards, and I'm happy that they're now zero again. So it's a never-ending cycle. You spend the money, you run up the cards, you pay them off, you feel great.
Yeah. But
I don't know. Maybe you just need to become an alcoholic. I don't know.
I mean, it could be.
That's a good one.
Could be. I don't know. I mean,
Start drinking heavily.
if I wasn't so afraid of death, I'd kill myself. Okay, why not?
Don't do that.
I'm up here on the eighth floor of a building with big, wide, gaping windows, and I've thought about it.
Well, you could practice first.
What?
Yeah.
Start
And
jumping
then-
out of the
and then
first
practice
floor and see
first.
how it goes.
Well, you'll know if it works.
Yeah. Guy's falling out of a building, 40-story
Yeah.
building. He gets
Now
about the-
that's a splat and not a speck.
Wait a minute. He gets to about the 20th floor, and some guy sticks his head out the window and says, "How's it going?" He says, "So far, so good." That's how I feel about life. Yeah.
Can it be? Can I say something? I heard you in the beginning. How you were down. I was listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
Can it be that? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I know I'm younger than you, but I'm saying now that I see people getting older, passing away. I'm not meaning you, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to think about my own mortality. Maybe we're starting to think about it like.
Oh, I'm not only thinking
now,
about
like
it.
what's not really important.
I can't see a future. That's how bad it's gotten with me. When really I should say fuck it, and I should live every day like it is my last and enjoy myself.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
right.
somehow can't bring myself to do that.
Because we don't know how long anybody really has. You can go another 15, 20 years. You never know.
I mean, listen, well, I lost my friend Paul Krasner, but he was 87.
So young.
So young. Well, my mom. It's like the story I always tell about my mother.
Howard was only 75.
What? Who?
Rutger Hauer was only
Wow.
75.
He was only 75. Yeah, my mother was 90, and her best friend was 92, and she died. And my mother said to me, "How could she go? She was so young."
You see, because she's still young to her.
Yeah.
My mother said the other
Yeah,
night, the
people
golden
always
years
see
suck, she
that.
said.
Huh?
I still, except for the aches and pains,
Yeah.
think and feel like I was 25. I don't feel old.
Well, wait till you get to be my age, Phil. One
I
day
don't
you wake
think I'll
up
make
and
it
you
that
go,
long.
"My feet are numb. My feet are numb. This hurts
Yeah.
me. This is a problem I've got." Blah 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 blah. And before you go, like Betty Davis said, "Getting old ain't for sissies."
But
Yeah.
can I say one thing? My mom, I came back from walking with my sister, so I bought her bananas.
By the way, is
'Cause
this
she was-
depressing? Hold on a second. Is this depressing you
Yeah.
folks out there? Well, it should.
It
Okay.
should.
Anyway, go
No,
ahead.
They love it.
You know what she said? She said, "Aunt, did you get my bananas?" I says, "Yeah, I got the bananas because she had a little diarrhea." She goes, I says, "Ma, how are the golden years?" She goes, "They fucking suck."
Did she say they fucking suck?
Yeah, I can get. Want me to tell her? I should
No.
walk with the
No.
She says, "They fucking suck."
We don't need your.
I haven't been depressed.
We
since I
don't
started
need your
playing
mother on the show. You're enough.
I know.
Yeah.
She would have you cracking up. I says, but I see
Record it on your phone.
How old
I'm
is
gonna do
your
it.
How old is your mother?
She's a year younger than you,
Oh Jesus Christ!
but she's very. I'm sorry, Alex. But Alex, you'll do circles around her. She couldn't keep up with you, but she has a good sense of humor still.
Really? Oh yeah. Well, it sounds like it.
Yeah, she does. She's like my aunt.
But it
Her-
does-
her
it
older
does-
sister.
it does
They
fuck-
have a good sense of humor.
It does fucking suck. I mean, there's no question about that.
Yeah.
So
She says, don't make him kids. She says, enjoy your life. She says, it fucking, you know what it is? Because she gets down because a lot of people are gone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's see here. So anyway, so I got to stop going on the internet and trying to diagnose,
Yeah, that's
you know.
going on
But
WebMD
because
and stuff like that.
because I read one thing and it says that the PSA velocity means if you've got more than 2 milligrams a year, it could be aggressive cancer. Well, they're speaking first of all about people who are younger who get it. Okay, they're not saying if you're this age or whatever. And,
Did it say that?
Huh? Oh yeah, but then
Did it specifically say if you're younger?
no. It just says.
Well, they're talking about younger people.
These are the statistics they found. Well, they're dealing with 55-year-old people, 65-year-old people. But the point is that I see that article, and then right below it is an article that says PSA velocity doesn't matter and doesn't show if you have cancer or not. And I read that, and that's a newer article than the one that I had.
That makes me a little
They
better.
say, well, yeah, they said, well, they've kind of discounted that. They said if there are no other factors there, it doesn't matter how fast it's going up. If you can't feel a lump in your prostate and you don't have any of the other signs, you probably just should sit there and wait. I don't know. I don't know what this doctor is going to say. He may say, go straight to biopsy. My God, you've got full hard-on cancer. So.
I bet she doesn't say
How
that.
do they know they're just not feeling shit? When they stick their finger up there.
They know the difference between shit and.
Yeah, that's what they tell you when they charge you. But really, they just like sticking their finger in there.
But anyway, so my doctor yesterday was not armed with this number. Well, I gave him the numbers. I gave him my numbers, and he said, nah.
Yeah.
He said, he says you can get a rise.
Mood lighting in there.
You can get a rise in your prostate from sitting too much. He said he didn't feel it's. I feel that the whole the PSA thing should be thrown out the door. And they should start working on other stuff that will tell you whether people have prostate cancer without having to, go directly to biopsy, so whatever. So, Phil's been biopsied, what, twice, Phil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was no fun. I would not recommend it as something that you do to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, but from what I hear is if they use anesthetic and so on, you should be okay.
They did. They hit me with a hammer.
How was it afterwards?
For about a month, you're pissing blood.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
You should have got a
And you
second.
ejaculate.
Well, and now you see.
ejaculate
Now
blood.
you see why. Now you see why I don't want a biopsy. I'm 80 years old. I don't need to go through that kind of stress and strain.
Yeah, you shouldn't. I wouldn't feel any pressure to do it.
I
It's
always
your
thought that.
It's your body, Alex. It's your choice.
Yeah.
I thought
It's
at this age, they never do anything.
Do with your body.
Yeah. Well, now this next doctor may say that to me. That we just sit here and wait and watch and see what happens.
Yeah, enjoy yourself and go to Ibiza. Buy the T-shirt.
I mean, it could be my prostate's just getting old, and the effects of old age are that the PSA is going up. So who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? I really shouldn't think about it. I got to stay off the fucking computer. All right. So let's talk about something. Oh, this is. I guess I got to talk about something else here. Anything happening in the news I should know about?
Mueller is sounds like Biden.
He did sound.
You know something? I got to tell you something about Mueller.
man,
Let me ask Jeff.
He didn't come across too well.
Jeff, did you watch? Just shut up, Phil, because after I say what I'm going to say, you're going to feel bad about what you just said. Jeff, did you watch it at all?
I listened. I watched most of it.
And what was your takeaway of Mueller?
I thought he did very well.
Okay, but did you feel as I felt that he didn't look well?
No, he didn't. I don't remember.
very gray.
I think he may not be well. And
He was all hunched over.
huh?
He was all hunched over
Well,
whenever
it was
he
not only hunched over;
got
it was
up.
just the look in his face was like ashen.
Gaunt. Wasn't it Gaunt?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he was dead already.
yeah. I wouldn't be
That's one-
surprised if in a
Well,
couple of
this-
months we hear of him dying. I'm serious about this.
Maybe he's already dead.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
I
my
thought
weekend
of
with
that
Bernie.
too.
You know,
Bernie's
but
got a lot of
I
vigor.
watched about a half hour of it and said this is boring and it's predictable. Here come the Republicans blasting him. Here come the Democrats praising him. Then it's back to a Republican blasting him, and then back to a Democrat praising him. Rather than everybody sitting there together trying to get some answers, you know, and to get a better vision of
Everybody got to get their question on TV.
yeah, but I mean
It's in the report.
yeah, but I mean, what's in the report, what isn't redacted, is in the report.
It sounded to me like Mueller never read that report.
It didn't sound to me like he didn't read.
You know,
It sounded- it sounded-
what page was that on?
Well, wait a minute.
What paragraph?
Phil,
Did
if
I
you-
say that?
Phil,
I don't remember.
Phil, if you would put together a 2-volume report, was it 400 pages?
You're not going to remember every word
Something
on
like
that
that.
page.
But
Over
believe it or
400
not,
pages.
you're not going to remember every page and everything that's in there. So you're going to have to say, okay, what page is that on? What?
He wasn't remembering much of anything, and then he had to
No, he remembers.
clarify.
He
through it
was,
all.
he was remembered.
And the next thing,
He was okay,
that-
Phil. Jeff has his
that
hand up.
Congressman Lou.
Jeff has his hand up. Yes, Jeff.
Yeah, I think a number of the things that he had to look up is because he didn't write those parts. Other people wrote different parts.
and he didn't read it either.
No, I'm sure
Anymore.
I'm sure he read the whole thing, Phil. He's a very
Yeah.
assiduous guy. I'm sure he read every single page before he let that report go out and have his
And
name
he
on it.
was being very particular about what he would say and what he would not say.
Well, what he wanted to say was keep within the scope of the report, and what happened was they did ask him what he meant about things, because it was, you know, like a statement like just because we didn't charge anybody with anything didn't mean it didn't happen, basically. And they wanted to know how he felt about that, you know, and they had to ask him directly. I mean, he said, "You feel the Russians helped get Trump elected?" And he said, "Yes."
Yes.
You know, you know, how do you feel about that? You know, they asked him, you know, if he felt that that he could eliminate Trump as being
Exonerated.
no, exonerated because of the feeling about him. What's the word we're looking for? Collusion.
Collusion?
in stopping people from testifying, things like that. And he said, no, I can't make that statement that he wasn't guilty of that. I said, we just can't make the statement that he is. You know. So, I mean...
So then he's not.
Well, no, that doesn't mean that, Phil. What it means is that there is reason to believe, good reason to believe, that, you know, that he did try to keep people from testifying and tried to muddle the investigation.
In this country, are you innocent until proven guilty?
Yes, but you can be charged, and that's called... And that's,
But they didn't charge him.
And that, well, stick around, you know. Who knows, you know.
Can't do it till he's out of office.
Yeah, we can't do it till he's out of office. Yeah.
Now,
This thing's going away. This thing's dead in the water, and in another
Dream
2
on.
weeks, it'll be out of the news cycle, and we'll be building the wall.
Dream on.
Yeah.
no. Now, I don't know. Maybe I don't know if somebody knows why is it that you cannot indict a sitting president. That's the worst.
Office of the Legal Counsel (LLC)
It's
created a memo.
Yeah, it's not a law. It's just
not
a memo.
it's a statement of policy.
Right. Well, Also, Robert Mueller is. I would trust everything he says because Robert Mueller is so by the book. It's ridiculous.
Well, he's also, they were making a big deal about, there's so many Democrats working on your committee. He said, number one, when I hire somebody to do this kind of work, I don't ask them about their politics. I ask them, I want them to be competent, I want them to be good, and I want them to be honest. But people don't remember, but Mueller is a Republican.
Yeah, lifelong.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
No, he's.
Hey, Patrick
what do you
is
mean?
a Republican.
What
He
do
doesn't
you-
support Trump.
What do you mean lifelong but not now, Phil?
Yeah, what does that really do?
Patrick was a Republican.
No, I'm talking
And-
about you. I was
and
talking.
doesn't support
no,
Trump. Mueller may still be a Republican,
That makes him more
but that
of a
doesn't.
Republican.
It doesn't mean he
But that
doesn't.
doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't mean he doesn't support Trump. Although it's pretty hard to support somebody who every day called you a witch hunter and incompetent and whatever. I mean, the names.
Tell
that
he doesn't like Trump. You can tell.
Well, I mean, why should he like Trump? Is there any reason for him to like Trump?
No reason.
It's like,
Yeah, but
yes, there are
15
four
yeah,
women.
Mac.
There are 4 women in the Congress right now who hate Trump, but they have every reason to.
Trump didn't give Mueller his fees back at Mar-a-Lago, and Trump is saying that that's why Mueller's got a thing for him because he screwed him. I think it was 15 grand or 25 grand.
15 grand is peanuts to these guys.
Nah, he's just a government worker. You kidding?
Phil, that's so. I would say that is so low of Trump, but then again, he's capable of that
There's
sort of
a
thing.
low for Trump. Every time you say it's a new low, he'll get lower.
It just gets lower.
He was losing guys right and left. Look at Epstein. Epstein left the club. Now Mueller can't get in.
Yeah.
Mar-a-Lago's in trouble.
Yeah. Hello, Kevin. How are you?
Oh, fun.
All right, how you doing, Alex?
Good. Did you watch the Mueller histrionics today?
Yeah, I watched it for a while, and then I had to go to the doctor, so I didn't watch the ship show.
Yeah. Well, I was bored by it. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, it was pretty boring. It was expected,
Yeah. I turned it off. I went and watched I think porn actually. But I mean, I just.
You know how they make the porn versions of everything? They'll make the porn version of the Mueller report. Who knows?
Yeah.
That isn't even you can't even masturbate to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like the Star Report. The Star Report, that was good stuff.
Yeah. And then I blew him. Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was very good.
When he stuck the cigar.
Yeah. But I mean, I still think that there was a benign neglect on the part of the Trump people when it came to Russia. Well, let's hear what they have to say. Well, let's kind of imply that we will, but we won't. I mean, it was a benign neglect. If they really cared about it, if they really were concerned about it, they would have called the FBI and said, listen, we've been approached by the Russians, and we want you to know that.
And you don't see any correlation between the $5 billion fine on Facebook and, that they sold that information. What was the name of that company?
Cambridge Analytica.
Yeah. You're not seeing any correlation between all of this stuff?
What? No. What
that Facebook was complicit in the Russian collusion?
Yeah. Oh, they were.
Yeah.
But
and they're going after Trump. I think this is just a cloud.
Well,
Trump,
Phil.
Trump knew about it, and he welcomed the help. He didn't have to do anything, but he welcomed the assistance from another country to influence and damage our elections.
We don't really even know it was another country, Dan.
Claim to be a patriot and support that is ridiculous. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The WikiLeaks dumps. They're saying that who is the guy on the Clinton campaign that got killed. They said he got
Vince Foster?
robbed. Pardon me?
Not Vince Foster.
No, that was Clinton early. This was during the Hillary Clinton campaign, and they're saying that he was the one that exposed the emails and so forth from the DNC, and it wasn't WikiLeaks. I heard that today. Of course, I didn't write down anything.
Of course not.
Yeah, of course not.
But I'm trying to think of this guy's name. It'll come to me. I'll find it. But he died. They said that he was robbed, and he died during the robbery. But it's also, they're saying that this is the guy that exposed those emails, the DNC emails.
Yeah.
And not WikiLeaks. So maybe, how could Trump be complicit with the WikiLeaks things if they weren't even the ones that did it?
What are we seeing a fan for?
Oh, I just set my phone down.
It was very interesting, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a ceiling fan.
It was kind of mesmerizing.
Gonna...
You will hypnotize GapNet.
Yeah.
My ceiling fans, that kind of cool.
Yeah. Would you just move that camera somewhere else? I don't care if it's just. Honestly, Dan, are you there?
Yeah.
Just get rid of that. We don't want to see that. Jeez.
Okay, I'm back.
God, I mean, do I have
so
to?
Dan, you moved out of the family apartment building. Where'd you move to?
Well, I moved to a building that is owned, that the new owners of our old apartment building own. And we thought we could stay while the new owners that we sold to did what they needed to do, but then they were like, okay, sorry, you gotta go. So we moved, and now I'm here by myself, and the apartment is smaller and easier to manage. And I'm flying solo again.
Okay, and we just got, let's see here. There we go.
Ray.
There's Ray. Hello, Ray. How are you? We can't,
you might be muted, Ray.
we can't hear you, Ray.
We can hear you barely, so
you have to
something's
turn
not
the
going
volume up. You have to turn your volume up.
through. Yeah, you're the opposite of Dan.
Or it's not plugged in all the way.
You have volume yet?
No.
Oh boy,
I can barely hear him.
I'm going to change mic, sorry.
Okay.
The native one's not working.
Yeah, well, you knew that the other day.
No, that was
If we're hearing you, Ray, but we're not hearing you through your mic.
the other day. That was a different device.
Wait, hit your mic. Hit your mic with your hand. Hit your mic with your hand.
See if that's the hot one.
Wait a minute. Just hit your mic with your hand, your mouth
Yeah,
mic.
like that.
With your hand. Just, can you hear me, Ray? Okay, hit your microphone with your
He's
hand.
muted.
With your hand.
He's been
because we
muting
want to
and
see. Because
turning
we
himself on and off.
Okay, well, anyway.
Okay, wait a second. I got it. There.
Yeah?
Just
Now
up
is
the
he?
volume a little bit.
No, I don't know. I give up. I do a show here in which I get enough problems technically with my own feed without having to worry
Fix all our
about
problems,
8
too.
others. One guy's got his ceiling fan, and one guy can't get the sound going. So,
Ray dropped off.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Did we lose
He
him?
left.
Yeah. Oh boy. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. So get rid of them there for the time.
Now,
What?
here, I wonder if anybody, and I don't know how everybody feels about the impeach or don't impeach question, but if today's testimony changed any minds about who's for impeachment and who's not.
I like peaches.
Well, I've never
changed my mind.
I've never been for impeachment because I just feel it's especially if we do it right now. I mean, by the time we ever got around to impeaching him, he either would be a term for another president or he wouldn't be president any longer. I think it's a long, lengthy process that would only benefit him. It would benefit
any
Trump.
trial is a long, lengthy process.
Because Trump could then rally his people, and his people would go to the polls like crazy. You know, right now they've got their fingers up there.
They're
going
already
to
rallying.
anyway.
They're already gonna vote.
They're getting rallied.
They're gonna vote anyway because they, you know, according to them, if a Democrat wins, it's like the end of the friggin' world.
I got to tell you something. If I wasn't this age, if I was about 15 years younger, I'd leave this country right now. I would get out of here.
Run for president.
I'd get out of here. Yeah, no, I'd get out of here. This is.
Where would you go?
Any number of places. A lot of fine countries out there. I like Britain's nice, but I don't like the food, so I wouldn't go there.
Well, now they got Boris Johnson, so he's just as bad as Trump.
Yeah, I'll tell you who I would love to go to Spain, live in Spain. They're nice people. The country's pretty solid, you know. So, you know, I would, but any place but here. Let me put it that way. You know, this is getting to be an ugly country. It's getting to be a
Does
very.
Spain
ugly
have their
country.
problems? Basque separatists?
No, that's been going.
That's
been going on for 50 years.
Well,
Phil.
nobody's perfect.
And then in Barcelona, you know, that what's that area called? The
Ramble.
The area around. No. The countryside around Barcelona. It's an area of Spain that wants to. They have their own language and they want to secede.
You mean Catalonia?
Catalonia, yeah, that's it.
Catalonia, yeah. Well, they've wanted to do that for years, and there's a good reason why, because they were. It has a history, okay, and part of the history is that as a region, they were deprived of goods and services by the Franco regime because they hated them. And so when I first went to Barcelona and Franco was still alive, that city was very gray, very sad, fountains not working, things like that, you know, very poor city. And then when I went back for the Olympics, which was years later, I said, well, how good can Barcelona be? And they had cleaned the whole thing up, and all the fountains were working, and it was one of the most beautiful cities in the world, and is to this day.
When did Gaudi die? Did they restore all of Gaudi's stuff, or was it like that when Franco was alive?
I think Gaudi died in the 40s, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe. Yeah. No, they didn't restore anything of Gaudi's actually.
Because the mark that he left on that city is phenomenal.
Well, a lot of people hated his stuff when it was first done because it's very organic structures. They almost look like skeletons, some of them, and bones, you know.
That apartment building he designed, everything he did.
No.
I can't pronounce Park Rule.
Gael.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have the church.
Familia.
Which wasn't finished. And then they got a bunch of modernists to go in there and finish it. So the front is like a modern version of what Gaudi might have had in mind, but the back, which he did, is just phenomenal. It looks like a dripping candle. I mean, it's amazing. It is just amazing. But anyway, I've always loved Spain, and I love the people in Spain, and the country is a pretty decent country. You know, in fact, it was more decent than we are when Franco was there. So, you know, I mean, I think I think we are so ugly now as a country that if I had the ability to leave here, but I'm too old for that. You know, Jeff, you know what I'm talking about. If you wanted to leave, you can't. You know.
Gabnet challenge. Why don't you book with your air miles and just go for a couple of weeks? Maybe it'll make you feel better.
Because I can't, because who knows, I may have to have the radio, the chemotherapy or the radio, whatever. Or
Nothing happens that fast with what you think you got. Nothing. You know, you could take a year and think about it. Just, you know, you're young enough, you can walk, your legs work, you know, and God, you know, Barcelona's a walking city. Go. Take 2 weeks.
My feet are killing me, Phil. I have numb feet.
That's maybe if you moved around, it would help. But in a couple more years, they're not going to just be numb.
But if I do something like that, I'll use up all my money, and then I better die soon because I won't have anything to live on.
Use air miles for hotel. Use air miles for airplane, and go first class, and do it right.
But Marjorie can't go with me. Because she has a job.
Yeah, she doesn't get a vacation?
Yeah, once a year.
Okay, well, this is the time. You know?
Well, you know,
wait.
She keeps telling me we got to go somewhere. So we will. But first I have to have the cancer treatments and the...
No, you can always put it off. Plus, you know, medical is free over there? Just tell them you got cancer and you need treatment.
Yeah.
You know, do what Jeff did in Australia.
Do you ever hear from Hayek at all?
No, I haven't.
No. I mean, we don't even know if he's alive anymore.
Yeah, maybe it didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wondered because, you know, I heard about what you have, obviously, and Phil had the same thing.
Well, not exactly the same thing.
Give you cancer?
Huh?
Yeah, it's the GabNet that does it.
Yeah.
GabNet spread by GabNet.
Okay, Ray, can you hear us now?
Yeah, yes, I can.
Oh, good. What did you need? A new microphone or what?
What did you say, Alex? I'm sorry.
What was wrong with the microphone?
I don't know. It's on my laptop. I don't know why it wasn't working.
Yeah.
So I just switched computers.
Oh, okay. All right.
I have to go figure it out later.
Go figure it out later. Josh, did you hear the hearings today?
I saw a little bit here and there, yeah.
What was
the bullet points on the news?
Yeah, what was your takeaway?
A little more.
What's your takeaway from it?
Well, I think it was what we thought it would be. I mean, I thought it was a little, you know, it was a little shameful the way the Republicans tried to make him sound like he was some partisan hack. I mean, I don't care for that. And, you know, the only reason they're doing that is because he didn't say something they wanted to hear. I mean, I view the Mueller report like, you know, people sometimes do judges, you know. The judge said something you didn't like, so he's a crooked activist judge, you know. I mean, that's how I see that. I mean, you know, Phil was acting like he didn't read the report, you know, which I don't think is true.
No,
but
he sounded that.
But I'm just saying, if Mueller today had gone in there and said 100% president's exonerated, case closed, everybody be like, Robert Mueller, the greatest American. You know what? Let's take Washington off the quarter. Let's put fucking Robert Mueller on there. You know what? While we're at it, let's put him on the 1, the 5, the 10, the 20, and the 100. I mean, it's an outcome based thing about whether or not he did a good job or not. You know, can't sometimes people just do their job, and if you don't like it, you can just say, well, you know, he did his job. I mean, but fucking.
I think
when he clarified what he said to the Congressman Liu, and he was in front of Nadler, and the first statement he made was a correction of what he had said to Liu. Did you hear that correction?
No.
Yeah, I did, and Liu was just trying to trip him up, and he got him.
No. Afterwards, he met. There was a second round of questioning, and Nadler ran. Or Ship ran the second round of questioning, and when he got into that room, the first thing he did was clarify what he said to Liu.
It wasn't a second round of questioning. It was a second hearing, Phil.
Second hearing, yeah. It was a different room.
I guess I would say, you know, big deal in a way. I mean, so a person who had to sit at a table for 6.5 hours and take rapid fire questions.
Will you let Josh finish what he was saying, Phil?
Yeah, but
Phil. I mean, I guess I'm just saying. if he made some sort of correction later, then he didn't try to hide anything, and he clarified what he wanted to say. Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
No.
And I mean, a person sits at a table for 6 or 7 hours and takes rapid fire question, and then, you know, it kind of is going back and forth, and then he wanted to maybe clarify the record, is fine, which, by the way, is the very same reason that everyone kept saying, oh, well, Trump shouldn't testify because they'll just put him across the table and they'll just be firing questions at him. They'll just try to trick him up.
His clarification was a complete 180 to the question that Lou had given him. Because Lou was trying to make a point of not collusion but obstruction, and the answer or the clarification that he gave was a complete 180 of what he gave Lou. So, and the end result of that clarification was that he didn't obstruct. That's the important part.
I don't know where you got that.
I don't know where you heard that.
I'm reading the article right now.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Phil. Shut up a second, Phil. Somebody else is trying to say something. Will you let somebody else try and say something? Yeah, and what does it say?
I'm looking at it right now.
And what does it say?
Former Special Counsel Robert Mueller testified that he did not indict President Donald Trump on obstruction of justice charges because of Department of Justice guidelines. We know all that, right? But later clarified his remarks. But later, wait, Phil.
Let him finish, Phil.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
Okay. The confusion came amid questioning from Democratic Representative Ted Lieu of California. Lieu recounted the 3 elements needed for the crime of obstruction. Okay, so here's the statement. I believe a reasonable person looking at the facts could conclude that all 3 elements of the crime of obstruction of justice have been met, and I'd like to ask you the reason again you did not indict Donald Trump is because of the OLC opinion stating that you cannot indict a sitting president, correct? Lou said? That is correct, Mueller said.
Yeah.
Okay, former, and then something came later, right? I'm trying to get to that part of the article. In Mueller's opening statement that came later before the House of Intelligence Committee, the former special counsel said he wanted to correct the record on his exchange with Lieu. That's not the correct way to say it, Mueller said. We did not reach a determination as to whether the president committed a crime. That statement was more in line with his report.
But what he also said in the report was that this is not to be construed as saying that he didn't collude or that he was
right. So it's not a 180, Phil.
But because you're innocent until proven guilty, and his initial thing was that he did use it, the OLU memo. And now he's saying, no, he didn't go by the OLU. He went by...
That's not what he said at all.
You know something, Phil,
he didn't say that, Phil.
You're like everybody. You're like everybody I saw on TV today.
That's not right, Phil.
This is like a giant fucking Rorschach test in which everybody has an opinion of what the ink blot looks like.
Right, and that's exactly what Trump did.
That's not said.
That's exactly what Trump was pulling up when he was in his post before he got on the helicopter. He was doing exactly what Phil was saying.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. He said all he did was switch the word crime, but he didn't say that he didn't do it because of the OLC. He never said that.
But originally, to Congressman Lieu, he did say that.
I know, but in the second one, he didn't. When he
so this is what I'm saying.
Phil, fucking wait. God damn it! He didn't say that he wasn't making the decision based on the OLC prior decision. He didn't negate that part. He switched the word crime in for the word obstruction. That's all. He didn't. Fuck
he said he couldn't find anything that they couldn't prove that there was obstruction. How?
No, he didn't say that, Bill.
If after 2.5 years you can't prove there was obstruction, you know, what the hell you want from this guy?
Was obstruction. He never said that, Phil.
Well, I'm just saying I don't understand because 15 minutes ago. Well, I guess what I don't understand is 15 minutes ago the report was a piece of shit. He didn't even read it. Now you're trying to use it to say he cleared my guy.
Said he
do you like the guy or do you not?
I said Mueller sounded like he didn't read the report, because when he was asked a question, he would say, well, I'm not sure. I don't know. Where is that? Is that
If I
in the
were
report?
115 years old and had been putting up with this shit my entire life and had to testify before the biggest group of assholes ever gathered in one place, I would probably sound that way too.
Mueller has always been a strong litigator. He has always been strong at his presentations in front of Congress. Today he was confused.
Phil, I said something earlier that you didn't listen to or pay attention to. I don't think the man was well.
No,
I don't think
so.
he was well.
And so
I think we have to give him credit for showing up there even when he wasn't feeling well, because he looked like, the minute I saw him, I said, that man is not well.
Well, and the end result of his testimony was that he was weak, and it could have been due to illness, but the bottom line is he was confused. He looked like he had had a stroke. You know?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So thank you for accusing him of all kinds of things and then saying, well, he probably had a stroke.
Good old video diagnosis.
Yeah. Well, you guys do it all the time.
All I'm saying is he didn't look well. He didn't look well, and I think he was a little befuddled today because he was not fully of his presence of mind. I know what that feels like when you don't feel well, especially at our age. I don't know how old Mueller is. I think he's younger than I am, actually.
He's in his 70s.
Tired of all this shit.
And he's tired of all this shit. Absolutely, he's tired of all this shit, Kevin. You know, there's no question in my mind about it. You know, so
I guess I'm just saying that if you read through the report the way Phil and some of his colleagues might, here's a part I really like. Robert Mueller, thumbs up, great guy, one of the best guys ever. Here's a part I don't like. You know what? This guy has got Ronald Reagan syndrome. He's out to lunch. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with this guy, but he looks like he's about to. He probably didn't even read this fucking thing. Oh wait, I like this part. Robert Mueller.
I didn't say I liked it. I was saying this is the reality of what he said.
He talks just like Trump, doesn't he?
He's 74.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like
And he's got a birthday coming up, August 7th.
I mean, I just want to know which. That's why I said. I mean, this is activist judge syndrome. I mean, he said something you like. He's a good guy.
I didn't say that. Like you were putting words in my mouth, Josh.
He's a bad guy. No, I'm just saying this is what people do in general with things. I just say he did what he had to do. I mean, there is such a thing as just doing your job.
I was just making a comment on the testimony and how one bit of testimony was recanted in the next hearing.
You know something, Phil? You have spent about 5 minutes on the one thing that Mueller said over and over and over again.
It may sound like that
wait a minute. No. I don't even know the exchange between Lou and so on. That's why I haven't gotten in the middle of it. But you won't let it go. You didn't just make the statement. That's the only thing you have against Mueller in this whole hearing.
Oh, no. I made my comments about Mueller in the beginning, that he didn't look like he was at the top of his game.
That's a judgment call on appearance. What I'm talking about is this one thing that somehow you latched onto and you won't let it go. For the last 5 minutes, you have been just driving it into the ground.
Well, it may sound like that to you, but I mentioned it once or twice. I got talked over about 5 times.
No, because it will get
when
used
you can finally get the damn statement
I'm
out.
glad you like. I'm glad you got talked over. Now you know how it feels.
Bullshit. You're the king of talking over.
Hey, whose show is it?
Well, it's his show.
Hey, it's his glove, his bat, his ball.
Yeah.
When you throw that ball, it doesn't come back. You know, you got to throw the ball out to somebody and have them throw it back.
All I know is that you just belabored this thing for 5 minutes,
Well,
and
no, it seems
to be
belaboring
it seems to be the only thing you could latch on in 5 hours of testimony.
It's the only fucking thing I said. It's the only thing I said today, other than making fun of Mueller for sounding like he had a stroke. That was it. I argued a point, and you didn't like the point because you you didn't get your scenario in there. And
what scenario?
So now,
what
now
scenario? I found the whole hearing to be boring. I found that it just, I'm so sick of things falling along party lines rather than that entire committee getting together and trying to get some answers out of Mueller and to hear things. Anytime you went to the Republicans, they were never, ever asking questions. They were simply making statements.
No, that was the other way around. And it was the Democrats that if you put a Democrat in front of the guy, the question was about obstruction. If you put a Republican,
but they were
in front
asking
of the guy,
questions. The Republicans weren't asking questions.
No,
the Republicans were just making statements about the Mueller report.
Know when he first knew that the Pfizer warrant wasn't any good. They asked about Strzok. They asked about his other investigators. Come on, you didn't want to hear what the Republicans had to say.
The Pfizer warrants were good.
Phil. Phil, listen to me. Listen to me, Phil. I don't fucking give a shit. Okay, wait a minute. Let me finish. I don't give a shit. This country is going to hell in a handbasket because of Trump and you, people like you, supporting him. And quite frankly, I give up. I throw my hands up. There's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing any of us can do about it. But I hope you're happy that this man has single-handedly taken what should be a pretty fine country and turned it into a shithole of a nation in the eyes of the rest of the world.
I think he's improved our
I don't give a shit, Phil. I don't give a shit, Phil. I don't give a shit, Phil.
Shithole for?
What?
Because there was a black guy in charge.
Yeah, no, because there was a Democrat in charge.
If you were a black
you
Republican,
look at most of the cities that are run by Democrats, and they're all shitholes. Whether it be Chicago, San Francisco,
I'm sorry, Chicago was not a
shithole. By the way,
I was there 2 weeks
yeah.
ago.
By the way, wait, hold on a second. I was talking to Larry Brown, and he had been in Chicago just a week ago, and said, "What a clean city that is."
Yeah, because
Phil, you don't have to reply to everything I say.
Well, it's bullshit. It's the murder capital of America. There's more murders there. There's more shootings. Chicago has 150, 200 shootings in a weekend. You telling me that's a great city? You got your head stuck in a hole.
200, huh?
What'd you say, Phil?
So many different parts of town.
What'd you say, Kevin? Kevin, you said something. He said something. And Kevin, did you say something?
Should open up a gun shop.
Yeah, I was just kind of questioning that 150, 200 a weekend stat.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's a month. They have
they
have more shootings in Chicago than anywhere else, and they don't even allow guns there. It's a shithole. Another shithole run by Democrats. Well, you go to San Francisco, you walk through dog poop and homeless. You go to Los Angeles, it's even worse than that.
That's bad, yeah.
I'm just curious, but
that's ridiculous.
I'm just curious.
I say you got blinders on.
And I'm not really a huge fan of this particular person, but how's come if AOC, for example, were to go around and disparage parts of America, it's if you don't love it, leave it, but you can do it. I mean, why is that? I don't understand. It sounds to me like there are a lot of places in America that you think are so terrible. I mean, why don't you leave? I mean, that's what I'm saying. This is what I don't like about today's political argument. I mean, AOC says things are not so hot and she should leave. You say it and it's okay. Trump made it the basis for his campaign, basically. I mean, his campaign was basically, his platform was that America is just fucking fucked up. It's terrible, and I'm the only guy who can fix it. I mean, this American carnage stops now. That's a line from his inauguration speech.
500 murders.
So where was it? If you don't love it, leave it then, is what I don't understand. I mean, I'm not able to
500 murders in Chicago.
What was that last weekend, Phil?
2018.
What's that got to do with what I just asked you? I mean,
because if you don't like America, you can go somewhere else. Alex says, "Hey,
you're the one running it down, not me. I haven't said one disparaging thing about America all fucking night."
Yeah, but the group of four has, and they're anti-Semitic.
And
So
Donald
why do
Trump
they have to
is
leave, but not you? That's my question.
Obama was president.
Because I like it here. I have no problem with it.
I think
Proud
they
of
like
the problem.
it.
Everybody talks out of both
They
sides of
like
their
it
fucking
so much
mouth.
They ran for Congress.
So wait a minute. Is it better? Is it better, Phil?
Servants.
Hey, is it better, Phil, to be anti-Semitic or to be racist?
Well, that's a tough one.
I would say, which one's better? It's a coin toss.
I was just gonna say that you may have to flip it, Phil.
Well,
you better hope for a two-sided coin.
You got a president who's a racist.
No,
Okay.
he's
I think
not
he
a
might.
racist. That's your media.
No, he's a
No,
News.
it's not. It's my own
He
ears
sat
and
there for
eyes,
13
Phil.
seconds
Keep
while
saying
those
it,
people
the-
were chanting, "Send her back, send her back," and then he gets on
Wow,
TV
his
next day
face.
and says, "I didn't do that,"
You
but
see
we all
his face
saw it.
when
It's
he was
all
doing
evidence on the
He
videotape.
looked disgusted. He looked disgusted when they were doing that.
No, he
did
No,
not.
he didn't, Phil. In fact, he
He's
actually
good.
nodded approval for a quick second.
Not he.
Yes,
looked
no.
I
no.
saw his face.
Phil, I saw his face too, and he
Me
went,
too.
and then
No,
he.
he didn't go.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Couldn't wait for it to be
Phil,
over.
I wish I had the footage
He
here.
looked self-satisfied while they were
It's
chanting.
just masturbate. But you know, I saw something totally different in.
No, I
and when
think
he
Phil
was
saw
listening
the
to
same thing. He's just trying to cover.
Let's see. I went for a number of shootings in Chicago and it gave me a number of murders. There's a lot more shootings than there are murders.
By the way, do you know the top 5 cities in America with the highest murder rates in 2018?
Give them to me.
What would
Let
you
me-
say
let
is
me-
number one?
Which is number one? I would say Chicago.
Try Elkhart, Indiana.
Indiana, they killing each other.
Isn't that next
Yeah.
door to Chicago?
How about number 2? What's number 2?
I don't know. Tell me.
San Bernardino, California.
Yeah, they had a mass murder there.
Number 3 is Chicago.
Ah. All right. Well, it's in the top 3
Mm-hmm.
with a bullet. You know. because-
Oh, that's.
Is that meant to be a joke?
Yeah. You know how they say in the survey, yeah, it's number 1 with a bullet. And
It's you know, I mean, I just think we're up Schitt's Creek. I really do. I think that we have become morally just the worst kind of country. This is not the America that I was raised in or that I was told existed. I was given a candy-coated version of America when I
thought
was
St.
growing
Louis
up.
also was.
What? I'm
You know-
talking about something, Phil.
Ricky and Silva.
Yeah.
See, you know what his problem is, Trump? Like, when I watched the news today, the one thing, like, he went on, he had, like, the way he was gloating. He can't just, like, not let the thing play out today. He always has to, like, he's very divisive, Phil. It's like he can never, like, not stay out of the camera.
What
Like,
if he's
did he
just
really
hitting back?
take center stage today after this hearing?
What if he's just hitting back? You know, you hit the guy. You know, the Democrats were like bullies, and they were able to hit Republicans left and right for the last 30 years, and nobody would hit back. Trump says, "You hit me, I'm going to hit you 10 times harder."
Republicans have been the bullies for the last 30
Yeah. You know, because the poor Republicans, they wouldn't fight back. You know, Romney, oh, I won't lower myself. Or that other guy that just died, what's his name in Arizona? I don't go that low.
The other guy who died in Arizona, you mean the American hero, John McCain? You mean
John
the person
McCain,
who
right.
put himself out for this country? And what
Who
the fuck?
would- who
And
would-
what the fuck have you ever
Trump
done?
gets so insecure they have to cover
well,
up this shit.
Trump was fighting.
You know, in his later years, he was a bad Republican. He was a war hero, but
I mean,
a bad Republican.
You just named your party's last 2 nominees for president of the United States.
Right.
And called them both
And
pieces of
because
shit.
when they would be attacked, but
Well,
Jeff,
they lost.
when they get attacked, they wouldn't fight back. Trump fights back,
Right.
just like me.
Trump's
the
a-
problem
Trump's-
is
Trump's a fucking bully,
somebody
Phil.
asked
He's a
if
bully.
If Trump was, if Obama was an Arab, McCain stopped
was.
him. Republicans don't like that. Republicans don't like that being nice because McCain was fair and he was a pretty fair-minded guy.
They're all fair-minded, and look at it. Look what it got him. It got him Obama. So Trump stands up to these guys.
Because we got Obama. Obama had 8 great years. So anyway, I wish we had
about it wasn't my 8 great years. It was malaise.
Malaise. Wow. Now, okay. Well, here's what I live in the middle of the Rust Belt, Middletown, Ohio, and it's an old half-dead steel town, and the people around here are the Trump fans, are the religious, born-again, Protestant, Pentecostal fanatics. And it just amazes me how these people, the evangelicals, have sold their fucking soul down the river for this fucking Trump.
Wait a minute. Hallelujah.
Very sad. I mean, they'll talk about Jesus out of one side of their mouth and then Trump out of the other side of their mouth. And they call Obama the Antichrist. And they,
they're right.
There was a meme that a friend of mine posted on Facebook, and I, the people I went to high school with, most of them are friggin' Trumpites, and she has this thing. It said, Obama, a picture of Trump and Jesus is like, Trump invited me back. It was like Trump and Jesus. It's like
the second coming.
What the hell kind of? I mean, the religious people around here have just sold their soul straight to the devil.
How do you have a picture of Jesus grabbing pussy?
Yeah, that's yeah, exactly.
He's probably on The Apprentice.
As nasty as you can get, right there.
He was on Celebrity Apprentice, so there's a lot of women around.
I don't know. That just don't sound right to me.
It's
about the most rank thing you can think of, but it's wrong. But there it is, right there.
So because Trump associated with Jesus in Ohio,
he
now
stands up
Jesus
there
is grabbing
and
pussy?
he talks about Jesus, and then he grabs pussy, and then everybody stands up there and goes, yeah.
Trump, in fairness, Trump doesn't really talk about Jesus. The Christians, they put.
Oh, he eggs them on. Okay, sorry. He talks about how.
Well, let's
They
think Trump is fucking Christ.
Let's be honest about something. Trump really isn't a religious person.
He is not. He acts like he is, and he acts like he backs them, and that he props them up, and he takes their money. But
well, if he's a Christian, he's not acting like it.
No.
Alex, he'd walk into church and say, "Who's the guy in the crucifix?" I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he probably walks into church and goes, "Where the fuck
which
is
reminds
this?
me of
Where
a
the
great,
fuck am I?"
which reminds me of a great joke. It's one of the greatest show business jokes of all time. A father is in vaudeville, and his kid travels with him wherever he goes, and finally he decides maybe the kid should find out something about religion, and I should take him to church one Sunday. So one Sunday he takes him to a church, and the kid sees Christ up on the cross, with his arms like that, and the kid says, "Look, Dad, ta-da!"
Yeah.
Oh.
Then grabs the basket on the way out.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Some of that holy water.
When I watched this whole thing today, and I think you'll agree with me, Josh, I was so disgusted by just both sides just not getting together and saying, we're holding a hearing here to try and find stuff out. Let's just find stuff out. Everybody had an agenda in there, and they weren't there to hear this guy. They were there to either nail him or to try and get something out of him that would nail the president. And I just felt that the whole hearing was useless, just useless.
Well,
So
it was
did Mueller.
I mean, it was basically the.
You know, you can't say anything around here without Phil making some snide comment.
No, Mueller thought it was useless too because he said he didn't want to testify, and he said he was only going to talk about what was in the report, and so basically the hearing was useless. If you don't like what I have to say, just tell me. I don't have to call. You just tell me.
I didn't say that, Phil. But what I'm saying is that every time I say something, you go, "Oh, well, that's the Democrats." You got to have a comment for everything.
Wanted.
What?
Mueller said that he didn't need to testify. It's all in the report.
That's correct. And I think
he,
pretty much that's what he did today. Is he simply stated what he already had stated in the report. Which how could he state those things, Phil, if he'd never read the report?
Oh, come on! I was being facetious. You know, I made it, and that what was happening was he was asking, well, where is that? Is that in the report? You know, because he was having a weak moment during these hearings, and it sounded like he didn't read the report. I know he read the report. Come on, you know, you guys are too fucking serious. You stop.
Why is it you're too fucking serious about that when you say it, and then later on, in order to get away with what you said I was only kidding.
I wasn't kidding. I said he looked weak. He looked out of sorts. He looked dazed and confused.
I said that at the very beginning.
And it sounded like so I agreed with you. It sounded like he didn't read the report based on his answers. Now, if you don't like that, I think that was very descriptive. But every time I have a comment that's a reasonable comment, like, "Hey, Mueller did not want to be there," you think I'm talking about something else. I mean, maybe your Xanax is still hitting you. You know, I don't understand why every time I make a comment, you got to hit, I guess.
A little drug joke about me. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate it. Yeah.
I mean, look, it was what most congressional hearings are. I mean, they're almost all just shows.
That's just grandstanding.
Well,
I piece of theater.
I think, Josh, what we are in at this present time is that the whole mess, all of Washington, all of politics, all of human behavior in this country has turned into one giant reality show. Yeah. And if it isn't a reality show, then it's a game show. And today what we witnessed was, I guess, a game show.
That's because you didn't get what you wanted.
Phil, that has nothing to do. Gun. You're not listening to what I'm saying, Phil.
You said it.
No, you're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm saying that all America has turned into this giant reality show, courtesy of a reality show host, okay? It had nothing to do with how that turned out today. I just said that everything that we have, whether it's this or whether it was the hearings of the Supreme Court Justice or whatever, are all run like they're fucking game shows.
Yeah, we're trending that way for the last, some odd years, and there's nothing.
Anita Hill.
It's not slowing down. That's what worries me. Well, okay, maybe that is when it started. I don't know, but I mean, it certainly is, trending that way, and it's not slowing down, and that's disturbing. And what's happening the entire time that all this kind of stuff is going on is that these sideshows and circus acts have slowly allowed the executive in this country to become more and more powerful. And Republicans used to agree with me on that, but at the current time they're having temporary memory loss on that because they need to right now because it's very convenient.
Yeah. They used to be able to
I suspect that in a few years that will wear off and they'll be back where they used to be.
Gosh, they used to be able to work across the aisle, and you can't do that anymore. Now it's just party line. There's no working across the aisle. There's no Tip O'Neills.
Who started
disputing that? For the most part, but.
Well, wait a minute.
Executive is certainly not the remedy for that condition.
Charlie had a question. Is Charlie?
Yeah, I said, who do you think started not being able to work across the aisle?
Doesn't matter. It's the reality of what we have now. It's what we have now. It doesn't matter who started it. It's the way it is, and it's not good. And in respect to what Josh said, the reason that they have assumed more power is because the other parts of government aren't talking to each other. You know?
Right. I mean, there's been a long train coming on how the executive in this country got to be as powerful as they are. I'm just saying there are some dangerous things that I see. You know, I read a quote today from, Donald Trump that said, and I'm going to have to paraphrase the quote. I can probably find it, but I mean, I'm pretty close on the wording here and the quote began with, "And then we have this Article 2, which allows me to do whatever I want." And that was the quote. And I mean, Republican, Democrat, Trump, Obama, George Bush, that's a dangerous quote. I mean, because
it
that's
existed
not
before
true.
Trump. It existed before Trump. Article 2.
I have obviously talked about that for quite a long time, and I'm not denying that. I'm saying he's not doing anything to slow it down by any means. He's jumped in the driver's seat and he's full speed ahead. And I get disturbed from that perspective because, Republicans used to agree on that. And they are just in this, phase of temporary memory loss because they have some power and they want to keep it.
That's why they didn't want the 60 votes in Senate. That's why the 60 votes in the Senate, when they could for the Supreme Court judge, they could do it with a majority. They didn't want to go. They didn't want to go to that. What do they call it? The nuclear option. And that is another thing that eroded, or gave more power to the executive branch.
Yes, one of the largest reasons for executive growth in power has been abdication by the other two branches. Yes, there's no doubt. I mean, they have voluntarily given much of it away. Absolutely, no doubt.
Yeah. So I don't know that you can blame the executive branch for what the other two branches have done. It's just reaping the rewards.
Well, I'm not blaming them. But I'm saying the current person in power has made some comments that are over and above in disturbance to me what others have done in the past. I mean, we've had this problem for a long time. I guess what I'm saying is if we were, and you can see me because we're on camera, if we were on a line graph here, it used to go like this, and then Donald Trump it went. I mean, and I think if he were a member of the other party, the people in your party would be drastically disturbed by that and would be singing.
Josh, do you think that's because he's more transparent and you're seeing and he's saying what he's doing, and the other ones kept their mouths shut and didn't say anything but did the same thing anyway?
No, I think it's just because they're hypocritical human beings who have basically, been corrupted by their own power. I mean,
this is the way it's been since
the
beginning of time.
Well, I would probably also.
It's just
agree
that Trump
with
has got a big mouth and he says what he's doing, and he wears his emotions on his sleeve, and he's transparent.
Well, I wish he'd fucking shut up and do his job. Okay, I wish he'd just shut up for one moment, not stop and talk to the press when he's going into the helicopter. Just shut the fuck up and work.
Well, it would be
your
not.
mic's off.
My mic isn't off.
Oh, now it's on. Oh,
no,
you were just moving your mouth then, and it wasn't.
It was on all the time, Phil.
Oh.
I heard him.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear the last couple words.
I mean, I guess I and Phil will probably have to admit, I have at least tried very, very hard to not criticize Donald Trump for his style of how he runs his presidency, even though I don't like it. I've tried to make it very substantive things like what I was just talking about. Even though the style that he chooses I find also disturbing, but
I find it repugnant.
Each president is certainly allowed his own way of thinking, I mean, but I do, however, think, look, I'm disturbed by the fact that, today, for example, he basically, called in sick to work as the report and, sat on the couch and watched this crap on TV all day. I mean, it's like, I just find that, ridiculous. But I mean, I don't understand how we got here, and I don't know where we go from here, because I just think that if, Obama had sat on the couch all day and watched, TV programming and typed into his phone all day, live tweeting the fucking thing like it's a ball game,
Wouldn't hear
people
the
losing their
difference.
fucking minds.
Be calling for impeachment hearings.
Right, and now it's kind of the new normal, and I mean, we'll get away from it eventually. We gotta get through it, I guess.
And they are calling for impeachment hearings. That's what they want. That's what this whole Mueller thing was about today. They wanted a smoking gun so they could have an impeachment, but they're saying, hey, we'll have an impeachment anyway. It doesn't matter whether he was right or wrong.
Well, I have no idea if they're going to try and do an impeachment, but actually today made me think. I was kind of on the fence about impeachment. I still kind of am, but I'm a little bit more now. It's like, let's just get through this and indict him and lock him up when he gets out of office.
91 of your Democratic brothers in Congress want impeachment.
Right.
Yeah.
But to be fair, as I've tried to call for you to do and others, I don't really support them on that. I mean, and I've had conversations with others, with Bishop afterwards and whatever. I don't like some of the tactics they're using to try and obtain tax returns, et cetera. I don't like some of these, underhanded loopholes and things they're, it's like some of this is just, it's not right. I'm not happy with the way the party's behaved, either. But I mean, but I'm willing to say that, I just wish Republicans could just do a little bit more of that.
Josh, what did I say about Trump's demeanor? I said it was repugnant.
Well, I'm not. I mean, right. I'm not accusing you of anything specific there. I just
like what he's doing, but I don't like his
general. Yeah, I'm just saying as a general rule with where we're at as a country. It's just. It's just the way it is. I mean, I read an article today about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, blocking people on Twitter. Because they constantly getting after her. And I'm reading the article thinking exactly what many people were commenting. Well, Donald Trump just got sued for that.
Yeah.
She shouldn't do that. I wish that they wouldn't. Democrats don't do themselves any damn favors when they act like that, and it's not healthy for them. And it's why I'm a pretty firm believer Trump.
I know it's illegal because Trump is a public figure and he's not supposed to block people. Yeah. But I don't see why he can't have a Twitter account that he can block people.
Right. But
I know it's not legal, but I don't think it's right. Huh?
I wish I could just have a little button I could push and just block Trump out completely from my life. So every time he comes on television, it just doesn't show up. And then I could just have nothing to do with the man because he's a total immoral fuck.
Yeah.
That's called the off button.
Huh? Yes, Dan.
That's the only way.
You're going to get the final word in tonight.
Because when Trump became president, you kind of said you wanted to get away from Trump and everything having to do with Trump. So I've been doing that. And unfortunately, that's why I hadn't listened to your show in a while. So you got kind of wrapped up in your own suggestion, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, I started watching after a while because I realized you couldn't do a show like this every night and not do that.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I tell you, but I'm just fed up with all those news channels. And I watched Mueller for like 15 minutes today and then, turned it off because it just didn't seem interesting to me at all, Anyway, hey, listen, that's our lovely and attractive theme song. I will go back now to being depressed, but thank you for taking my mind off things for an hour and a half. Josh Wheeler, thank you. Always a pleasure to have you here. Phil, nice to have you here. Did I say that? Jeff, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hey, Charlie, always fine to have you here. Dan, glad you're back with us again. You're a good participant. And, of course, Tony, go take care of your mother now. And Kevin, thank you as well. That's our citizen panel. And if all of you would give a big wave goodbye, I'll wave back at you. And so will the audience. Okay? There we go. That's our citizen panel for tonight. Let me hang up on them unceremoniously so we can make the Skype lines ready for Jack Bishop, who's next up on this Gabnet station. We'll be back again tomorrow night. And there's no Damien again this week, and not again next week either until Friday. So all I have to say to you is we'll see you again tomorrow night after a rerun of Damien at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody.